Hi, Coach. So glad you found us on YouTube. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Make sure you subscribe. Those are big ones for us. If you're looking for more depth in your coaching, if you're looking for a community, if you're looking for resources, if you're looking how to run a 1-3-1 zone, make sure you check out teachhoops.com. There'll be one of these corners up here will be a link, or down below. It's a 14-day free trial. Go check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And enjoy the video.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well,
Let me get situated
So
here. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. All right. So, essentially, so some of the questions I have today are like really looking at for this upcoming season, because out here in Tennessee, like for our middle school girls, they're at full swing in softball. But as soon as school gets out in May, they'll be able to do stuff with us again. And so for this next month or so here, we're going to get kind of all of our chickens in a row here. And
I hear you. I'm doing we have our banquet. So what's today? Today's Tuesday. So we have our banquet on Sunday, and then I already have a coaches meeting on Monday. We're the same way, but
right.
we don't get out till June. So that our problem is June. So we got a couple months.
Yeah. So how I do it, how we're gonna do it. Like last year was our first true summer with them, because I was hired so late the first year. So we did a lot of good stuff. We did some off-season implementation, some skill building stuff where if their parents signed off on them doing so many workouts and things like that outside of our open gyms, then they would get a ticket. If each player got a certain number of tickets, and we'd have a pizza party, things like that. So and they did it. So we're looking to do things like that again, and then also try to get like at least like our top 10 and play in a tournament or two, just to get out, because a lot of our learning curve we took even after our preseason tournament into the first week. So just get some of those learning curve things out of the way. But so after we talked last time we spoke, it was about kind of like defensive intensity versus if we're not getting enough of that, going to, instead of like full court pressure defense against better competition, to rotating and using different defenses against different teams and rotating throughout the game. That went really well for us. That worked well. We ended up having a pretty strong finish to our year. We made it to our sectionals down here, which is the furthest the school has been since before our time, in about 4 or 5 years. So
that's awesome.
So really good things, but still like our bottom record, we're still like 15-13. There's still a lot of improvement to do.
Right.
And but good news is, like, of our top 8 in the rotation, or excuse me, about our top 8 in the rotation, we're only losing 2 of those and only 1 starter. So at middle school, that doesn't happen too often. So we had a lot of our talent in our youth. So our main hurdle that going into this next season is going to be determining what kind of offense we're going to run. And the reason is we really do not have size on this team. We don't have anyone who just even plays like a true post. And we might see man-to-man once all season long. So something that's very guard-heavy, probably leaning toward a 5-out almost. That could be effective.
You're about the 20th person that's asked me this. So what I'm thinking is, when we get back from spring break, the beginning of April, I'm going to do a weekly thing, because what I think it's the math teacher in me, and I'm thinking about my group too, because I'm going to talk to my coaches on Monday about this. But I think it's like it's like a diagram, and you got to figure out, okay, are we big, are we small? Do we want to go zone? Do we want to go man? I mean, what are we going to see? And then I think once we get that situated, then I think you got to figure out exactly what skill sets you need. But so before we do that, so let's talk about, when can you start working with them again?
So as soon as school lets out, which would be down here May 20-something. As soon as school lets out, we can have like a summer tryout, start doing open gyms, things like that.
And have you thought about what you're doing in those?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year, we were pretty well rounded last year in our off season program, and
Yep.
kind of worked on and dabbled on a little bit everything. Our offense struggled a whole lot more, just like statistically, than our defense did. We had a very strong defense this year, but our offense just it was rough. So we're probably shifting a lot of that to being more offensive heavy,
Yep.
especially with mostly guard teams seeing a lot of zone. I mean, it's middle school, but so you really only are at tops going to have one or two effective outside shooters, but more effective jump shooting, more ball handling, things like that.
So that's where I was getting with the question is I think what you have to do is if your defense is okay and your offense is where it needs work, 90% of your summer work should be just literally taking shots, the type of shots you're going to get. I'm guessing you see a lot of 2-3 zones, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So so you're not going to work on the shot a foot inside the free throw line. You're going to work on wing shot, baseline shot. So what I think you need to do is figure out each of the girls that are coming back that are going to work with you, and then these are the type of shots you need to take, and then have them keep track of them all summer long, even if they're doing workouts with their parents. Because I think you got to. We can talk about specific offenses and overloads and how you can get people cutting and all that kind of stuff, which is great, which is really important. But if you can't hit a 12-footer, it's not going to matter.
Doesn't matter.
So yeah. I think all your energy has to go into, because you know your girls better than I do. Here are my 12 girls or whatever you have. Here's Susie that needs to work on her 12-footer, her free throws, blah, blah, blah. Maybe Jen is a post player. Well, we're going to work on these kind of shots, and it's got to be muscle memory, repetition, shot. And then what you have to do is, and I just did a podcast on this, the difference between passion and stress. Stress is doing something you don't like doing, like my taxes. Passion is something you love to do. Like I love doing my podcast. I do it for anything. I just like doing it because I like talking. So you have to make it a passion for them. So that means the hard part, and this is what I'm coming up with, is how can you make, an elbow shooting workout fun, not passionate, something they want to do rather than something that's stressful and they don't really want to do it. So that's where we got to get creative on how you're going to get those shots up for the girls.
Okay.
How can you make it a competition? Can you do it when they're moving? Can you, make it contest? I mean, you got to make it so they don't really know that they just took 100 shots or 200 shots. Because I was just reading a book that said something that's crazy, like the average practice, if it's an hour and a half practice, the average number of shots a kid gets up in a practice is like 70. Like in a normal practice, one kid gets up like personally. So you have to get like 5 times that in the summer or off skill work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that will solve your zone problem if they can shoot. And it doesn't have to be 3-pointers. It just needs, and then I think you're right about your secondary thing is dribble, because once they start hitting them, they're going to come out on them. And then what's your counter to someone rushing you and closing out is to fake and go around them.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of it too, a lot of our ball handling stuff is going to be positioned in ball handling under pressure, because I would say probably 75% of our turnovers from this past season were just hitting that panic button a little too quick because they're not as confident as they should be in ball pressure situations handling the ball. So not only for our offensive purposes, but we lost so many opportunities in our offense just off turnovers, specifically of that kind from this past season.
And that's the lower down you go, the more pressure works. The higher up you go, the less it works. To be honest, it's a reason. Remember when Patino used to do kids have gotten so good that you don't see college teams full court pressing and doing that stuff on a regular basis anymore because it doesn't work. Because they're so skilled that you can't turn them over and you can't get what you want out of it. But as you go down the food chain, basically, and at your level that they're just, I mean, that's why you're pressuring or your defense causes turnovers. That's why you got to do fun stuff like that to be able to teach them not to panic. I tell my kids, eat the ball, and they laugh and stuff. I said, I'd rather if you eat this than turn it over. Just like tuck it in and hold, they just get panicked. It's like a hot potato for them, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's some games where there's a couple minute stretch at a time when you just kind of have to, in that timeout as they're coming over, you're just like, what on earth was that? Like, that was not any form of basketball. Like, yeah, there's some of those moments for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so like to the ball handling point, a drill that I had to do whenever I was playing college ball, but really didn't have much experience with it until then, was essentially a drill. It was a 1-on-2 drill, and like in a full court press situation where two defenders have a certain amount of time to keep the one offensive player from handling the ball across half court, that kind of thing. And that seemed to work for our group.
Yep.
We were also 18 through 22 years old. So for youth level, is there, other than like, I think
you want to put them at a disadvantage. So you could do that same drill and just do 2-on-3, like give two offensive players and tell them to get it to half court. And then because there'll be three defenders, one of them one of them will be able to double. So then what you're doing is, the key to not turning it over is they don't have anybody to pass it to, right?
Yeah.
So you want to teach them that what that drill will do if you go like 2-on-3 or 3-on-4 full court. I do that with my youth teams. I do that with my high school guys. It teaches them to cut. It's about angles. It's about giving them options to pass to. So, there'll be turnovers on it, but that's okay. Then what you can do, it's a psychological thing too. What you can do is you can come back to them and say, hey, whatever you call it, let's call it Memphis. Remember Memphis drill? Memphis drill's harder than what you're going through now because there was an extra defender. Oh, yeah.
Right.
So you got to play these psychological games with them. Like, we work on, we don't have a shot clock. So there's times where I'll put 6 or 7 defenders out there and we got to take a minute off the clock. Well, when I put 5-on-5, then it seems easy. So it's that mental aspect to it too, a little bit, because that's what's happening is they're getting rid of it and they're freaking out. It's the panic. So I like the drill you mentioned, but I would just try to do variations of it. Do like 2-on-3,
yeah.
3-on-4, do 4-on-5. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, that was the only thing that really, like that, I mean, that was if we had our Achilles heel from this past season was, again, like we had essentially one true post player from this past season that we're losing. So at times giving up offensive rebounds was a struggle, but definitely from a defensive or an offensive standpoint, turning the ball over. And so in the past couple of years, so like, I think I've told you this before, like, before we got there, a couple years before we got there, the school won state for girls. And then immediately after that, they lost all that talent, and they were like a 2-win team.
Right.
And the first year we got
high
there,
school athletics right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was in middle school. In middle school, they had 1,000-point score in middle school. So, they lost all that, and so when we got there, they'd won like the 2 games the year before. Our first year was 7. This year is 15. So we're trending in the right direction. We're getting that culture back. And the girls who have played for us the past 2 years, they know what we want out of them, and things that we're like, one of the things that we're looking to do this year is actually put down, like in our locker room, in the gym, our cultural values that we cherish, we push.
Yep.
And biggest thing, I had a discussion with one of my assistants one of my assistant coaches from my college about it, and because a lot of that stuff is, whether it's, family, respect, work ethic, that type of thing. I just, with this age, I want their impressionable side to sink in and not it go over their heads necessarily. So
you got to keep it really simple. And the thing is, they want structure. Kids are dying for structure. They want it. They'll complain about it, but my 17-year-old still wants me to tell him to go to bed. He does. He will never admit it in any world. but he doesn't want to go to bed at 1 a.m. and then be tired the next morning. He wants structure. He wants the reminders. He wants those things.
Yeah.
And it's like that, you know, it's that positive. Yes, we want, you know, we want to leave a place better than we found it. You know, we want to play say, please, and thank you. Whatever your cultural things are in your program. Yeah. If you keep saying them enough, they take over. I mean, we're in Wisconsin, so we run on Lambeau time. I don't know if you know what Lambeau time is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we talk about Lambeau time all the time. And the kid will walk in 2 minutes before the meeting starts. I go, you're late. We're on Lambeau time here. We're not, you know, and I'm a basketball coach and I still use Lambeau time. So
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of have a similar thing that's called a Snyder time of a coach that was down here named Bobby Snyder that at our local high school is the gym's named after him, everything like that. When we were growing up, he was still the coach there. So like at our high school, it's been around since the late 50s, early 60s, and there's only been 3 men's coaches in that time.
right.
Because of how long he coached there, and his kind of same thing. So we were always told it was Snyder time, but yeah,
It's
absolutely.
Lambeau. The clock at Lambeau is 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes off. You're supposed to be, if I say 7 o'clock, you're there at 6:45. Yeah. You're there 15 minutes early. You're never late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so one of the things that I'm hoping to do with the cultural values, not only bring them a little bit closer together, and that was a big thing. We had individual meetings with all of our girls, and that was a common thread that they thought that between the first of the year when we were having most of our struggles toward the end, that they were a whole lot closer by the end of the year than they were at the beginning. And so we want to keep that going. And so I want to kind of get that all-in attitude.
Yep.
I'm hoping those values help with that. It's just like, I mean, to an extent, like they still have to make the decision to go and put in that extra work and things like that. And we battled some of that of just straight distractions. And it's that age.
It is at this age. So you got to almost make it. You got to almost make it like workout, and then there's a sleepover at one of the kids' house, or there's a workout, and then we're gonna have a picnic. There's a workout, and we're gonna go to the amusement park, or there's a work. I mean, at that age, it's like something good. Here's something fun. Here's something good. Here's something fun. Here's something good. Here's something fun. Because then they want to do both of them, and then every one of those you do grows them closer together because they don't want to let their sister or brother down, basically, is the way it works. It's not you, it's them. It's peer pressure. It's like, you know, I want to go to battle for them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually had one game. One of our worst performances this year was actually right after Halloween because a lot of our 8th graders went to a Halloween party the night before.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously, I mean, they're teenagers, so it's like
right.
Party is probably a strong word for it, but they're up a whole lot later than what they normally are, you know, and they're
right.
exerting themselves and dancing and stuff more than they would normally would. And we came out flat as a sheet of paper and played horrible the next day.
Right. Right.
So, like, you know, little things like that. And honestly, like in our there's sometimes just and I don't know how it is with you guys, like there in certain times of the year with our TSSAA for Tennessee,
right?
Like you can't have a mandatory practice. It has to be open gym. Like if it's a weekend practice, sometimes it has to be optional, things like that. So we had an open gym like down the stretch in our conference tournament going into sectionals. We had a walkthrough the morning before our last game when we got put out, and a open gym the day before one of our conference tournament games. And at both of those, we had 5 8th graders on our team. And at both of those, we had 0 8th graders show up. And so that leadership thing is something that we didn't really have.
Yep.
But a lot of the issues also came from that group. And our younger ones, especially our 7th grade group, they don't have that same trait. So a lot of that I think is going to be gone this year. But
part of that is you teaching them too. So you got to go down to the 5th graders and the 4th graders and 3rd graders. If you want to teach them how to do a drop step, you have to teach them how to lead too. Like this is how you lead. This is what a leader does. You know, a leader worries about themselves being in time, but also the person that's just still putting their shoes on in the locker room. They're worried about both of them. That's what leaders do. So you have to teach them those things along the way. Yeah, and
that's actually something that we try to do. We had a bit of a restructuring of our youth program around here that seems to be trending in the right direction from what I played through whenever I was a kid. It's a whole lot better than it's still got a whole lot of room to grow. But we actually were able to meet with about 6 of the 5th grade girls that would eventually start playing for us after our season ended, and be able to talk with them, get our face in front of them, things like that. So
that's good.
Still a lot of way to go, but getting there. Okay, and then another thing, more from like I suppose a managerial standpoint and how you would manage things is so we're going into our 3rd season here. The first year it was just me and one assistant, Brandon Akers. Then this past season, we had a coach that we coached against him the first year. He's a little bit younger than us. Didn't have a ton of basketball experience. Really passionate. Cared a lot about the kids. And so I told him, okay, if you'll keep book for us, you can essentially be our 3rd coach. I can try to, give you more resources and help you. And that did not go very well at all. So just nowhere near as proactive as I asked him to be. And obviously a great guy. But coming into this next season, I've asked him not to join us again because we spent way too many times having to discuss things with him rather than focusing on our team.
Right.
And so as a coach, like obviously that's probably for a little bit for some of the girls, maybe say even some of the parents, that might be a little bit of an elephant in the room. So, if situations were flipped here, what would you do in a similar situation?
I mean, if there's an elephant in the room, I basically talk about it. And then just say, here's the thought, here's stuff, blah, blah, blah. Do you have someone else that's going to do that job next year?
Honestly, for bookkeeper, we'll probably use a parent or something like that. Or
so I think you're honest. You're saying, hey, I was trying to help somebody out. I was trying to mentor. It didn't really mesh with what we were trying to build. Here's, we really like the guy. It's just, all of you have worked in businesses, blah, blah, blah. You can fill in the blank at that point. But it's like, there's no ill will, but we just have to move on, and it's like, and if I find someone else that I can help mentor, I love this game, I want to help them. I've done the exact same thing. I've had people on my staff that have worked, people in my staff that haven't worked. And when you find them, it's worth all the work for the ones that don't necessarily mesh. Trust me, it is. Like, the only reason I'm still coaching is I basically have had 2 staffs in 30 years. I mean, I basically have had like 7 people that I've trusted that have worked with me, and we basically, we're slacking each other all day today. We're just on the same wavelength. And when you find it, it's perfect. You love it. But there's 3 that didn't work and then 1 that did work. That's just the way the world works. It's no different than running a business. So, I mean, I think you're honest with the parents too. It's like, I'm more worried about your daughters. I want this to be a joyful, great experience. And that's why I'm putting everything I have into it. And we're going to try to put great people around and so on and so forth. So, I mean, yeah, I'd talk about it and then just move on. It's like, the bus is leaving the train, or the train's leaving the station. Let's jump on and let's go, kind of thing,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And once the season starts, they'll all forget it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you say that, like my sister sitting over here, we've been friends since we were, gosh, I don't even know, probably like kindergarten.
Right.
And he didn't play a lot of basketball. But when it came down to it and I was looking for an assistant, I wanted someone that I could trust more than the knowledge. And when you said the wavelength thing, like, we just about always know what each other's thinking. And if not, we're always able to get on the same page very quickly. Even in, like, especially in games with nonverbal communication, things like that.
I can teach you, really, like, if I'm hiring an assistant, I can teach you what you need basketball wise. I can't teach you how to deal with parents. I can't teach you to be on the same page with me. I can't teach you that, hey, I'm having a bad day, leave me alone, kind of thing. Or, hey, I need your input, or I need your support. People that you find that know that, it's like, it's great. Yeah. Like when we lost in the tournament, and the team that we lost to is basically probably going to win the state title. I was depressed for like a week, but my coaches knew what I needed. We all kind of worked through it at different stages. It's just what happens, Yeah.
Okay, yeah, awesome. You got anything else?
I want to know who he got for a tournament.
What do you mean?
For NCAA tournament.
Oh yeah, who you got in March Madness, Coach?
Who do I have in March Madness? Hold on 1 second. It's going to be one of 8 teams. I'm a stats teacher. I'll tell you right. Get a piece of paper. I'll tell you right now who's going to win it. If you're gonna do your pool, hold on. I got to grab my phone. So the last 20 years, yes, in the last 20 years, every NCAA tournament champion has been in the top 20 in offense and defensive efficiency. So if we took the people that are going to make it this year, it's either going to be Virginia, Gonzaga, Duke, Michigan State, North Carolina, Michigan, Kentucky, or Houston. It's going to be one of those 8 if the stats hold true for the last 20 years.
Right. So I'm a huge North Carolina fan. And my assistant over here is a big Tennessee fan, and they've had a much better season than what they
Tennessee's not on the list, man. Sorry.
Yeah, and he just reacted to it.
I know. I'm taking Virginia. I like Virginia because Bennett's a Wisconsin guy.
Oh yeah.
And there's a guy. There's a Jalen Johnson who I know his family was in our league. He's a great kid. Duke's after him. Kentucky's after him, so I might try to pick one of them too. But
yeah,
we'll see. It's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
we'll see in a couple weeks if I'm close. I'm going actually to the Final Four. I'm taking my son because it's in Minneapolis, so it'll be fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's why you got to become a member. You got to become a member of the National Basketball Coaches Association, and if you're a member long enough, then you can get a ticket. So
yeah, that's what my coach at from Milligan College. That's what he does. Him and his son go every single year.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll see if we kill each other after a couple days. But all right, we'll get together in a couple weeks and we'll do the offensive thing. I'm gonna have a whole we'll all get together. I'm gonna let everybody know, and then we'll okay, let's break it down. Because I've been working on this for about a month. Because I think everyone's a little different offense and defensively. You know your team better than I do, but I think it will be really effective. So,
yes, sir. That sounds great. I really appreciate it,
Coach. No problem. Talk to you later. Yep. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach. Hope you liked that video. If you're looking for more videos just like that, check out teachhoops.com up above or down below in the show notes. I do not think you'll be disappointed. One-on-one calls, office hours, you name it. It's there for you. Learn from me. Let me help you become a better coach.